When did you find out about this?
Good morning, Ian. Thanks very much for having me on. I was made aware on Monday about the Times investigation and took immediate action when I heard some of the allegations. We haven't yet had the full details from the Times. We've asked them for all of the information we've got so that we can have a proper investigation. The first thing we did was to suspend Arvato, the contractor, who I think has let us down hugely. The second thing was to launch an independent investigation led by our General Counsel. And then yesterday morning, when we saw some of the information from the Times, what we did was we announced that we were going to suspend all prepayment meter installations under warrant until at least the end of this winter. I just want to make sure that we can establish exactly what's going on. We've clearly got it wrong here, and we're going to fix that. We don't get everything right. We get more right than wrong, but when we get it wrong, we fix it. So I just want to establish the facts. Every single one of our customers deserves to be treated with respect. But
how did you feel when you first saw this footage?
Disappointed, livid, gutted. This is not who I am. It's not the standards I set myself. It's not the standards that I set in the company. It's not who we are. It's not how we do business. There's no excuse. It's deeply, deeply disappointing. Quite distressing, actually.
This is the exciting bit. I love this bit. I mean, this is disgusting, Chris. I mean, don't you vet these people?
So you're right. There's no excuse. There's nothing really I can say to that. Everybody can make their own judgment. It's unacceptable. We do try. We don't vet every individual member of staff. What we do when we have a prepayment meter installed under warrant, firstly, it's always a last resort. So when a customer gets into payment difficulty, what we do, we encourage them to get in touch with us. We try and get in touch with them. If the customer gets in touch with us or they talk to us, we put in a payment plan for them. So we don't have to switch them over to a prepayment meter. We want to help them. We want to support them. We've put £50 million aside recently to help those of our customers most in need. We really want to help our customers. But like any business, if we have a customer that's fallen further and further into debt and we cannot get them to engage, then as a last resort, what we do is we apply to the court for a warrant to install a prepayment meter. And that sounds quite harsh. I mean, you're caught in some ways between a rock and a hard place, because the choices that you've got are to leave a customer to build up debt that you know they can't pay, or to try and do something which stops that debt being built up as much as possible. There are no pleasant outcomes in this situation. But in many industries, you're not allowed to give customers credit that you know they can't pay. And what we try and do in British Gas and Centrica is to balance that. Now, clearly here, we got it wrong. But we've taken immediate action. We'll get to the bottom of it and we'll get it sorted. Our customers, nobody deserves to be treated like that. Our customers don't deserve to be treated like that. But all I can do when I learn about something like this is to do everything I can as quickly as possible to fix it.
But when you are getting a court warrant to go into a customer's house, surely you would want to vet the sort of individuals that are doing that. I mean, these people look like they're sort of glorified vehicle clampers.
Absolutely. So we have processes in place for managing our contractors. And as far as I know, the vast majority of activity that we undertake in this space and in other spaces is done with respect for customers and allows people to have dignity. Clearly, people can see from the video there, that did not happen here. The language is unacceptable. There is no excuse for it. So I'm not going to try and justify it. All I can do is when I find out that something's gone wrong is to get to the bottom of it as quickly as possible and fix it. That's why I took the immediate steps, 3 steps of suspending Arvato immediately, of launching an independent investigation under our chief lawyer, and then of suspending all activity to install prepayment meters under warrant.
How many prepay meters have you installed this year, and how many of those have been forced installations?
So in the past year, we've installed 97,000 prepayment meters, the vast majority of which have been, and when we say installed, sometimes it's actually just changing over the modes. So if you've got a smart meter, it can be done remotely. The vast majority have been done either at the request of or with the agreement of customers. Around 20,000 have been installed as a result of the warrant process, which is in line with historic norms and I think in line with the industry.
You mentioned the industry there. Is this a widespread industry practice? Are we going to find out that some of your competitors have been doing this as well?
So look, I can't talk for competitors. All I can do is to talk for what's going on at British Gas and at Centrica, and to hold my hands up and say we got it wrong clearly in these cases that have been highlighted by the Times. I'm very grateful to the Times for bringing this to my attention, and say I've urged them to share all of the detail they've got whilst maintaining any confidentiality, so that we can look into every instance that they found. I believe the 3 instances that they mentioned in the report are the 3 that they saw, and that was out of around, I believe, nearly 50 visits that reporter went on, as far as we can ascertain just now. But I want to know any instance of wrongdoing so that I can fix it. But also, what we need to do is longer term is to step back and say, this is actually an issue which goes across not just the energy industry, but a number of industries, which is people are struggling to pay their bills at the moment. Now, if you have a mortgage, or if you're renting a property, if you stop paying your bill, people don't simply sit and say, we're not going to do anything. You have to talk to your landlord. You have to talk to your mortgage company. If you've got other finance, you have to talk to the finance provider. And we're all, I think most businesses are looking to have a solution that helps customers. In very limited circumstances where a customer will not engage with you, we really have only got these 2 options. And I don't feel very comfortable in allowing people to build up debt that I know that they can't repay. So what I'm hoping that we can do is, within the energy industry, I've spoken to the regulator this morning, I'm speaking to the energy minister this afternoon, and what I'm encouraging them to do is to accelerate work to look and say, what is the root cause of the issue? Now, there are instances here where we've not upheld the standards that I demand of the team, and we'll fix that. The root cause is having people unable to afford basic necessities, such as property, such as food in some cases, and such as electricity and gas. We need to work together, government, regulators, NGOs, and industry, in order to fix that for those that most need our help.
Chris, are you 100% confident that the law hasn't been broken in any of these instances?
Ian, the reason that I've commenced this investigation is I want to understand exactly what's going on. So I need to wait for the result of the investigation. But what I can say is, where we've got it wrong, we'll fix it.
What message have you got to the people who've been the victims of this sort of sharp practice?
The thing I say is, I'm sorry. It's not acceptable. And it's not only that, it's not just where we've got it wrong, it's wherever you see anything which is a lack of respect. That's the thing that really upset me most, which is, these are people, these are families. You have to treat people with respect. And that's what we do. We have 7.5 million energy customers in the UK, and I'm confident we do that with the vast majority of our customers. Clearly, we got it wrong on some occasions here, so all I can say is I'm really, truly sorry, and we'll make it right.
Now, last month you raised your earnings forecasts. You're obviously going to enjoy a very strong set of financial results this year on the back of higher energy prices. Is there more that you could be doing to help vulnerable customers?
Look, I think, Ian, there's always more that people could do. What we've done so far is we put out a £50 million package now. About £20 million of that's gone for people to pay their bill by direct debit or by cash cheque. £10 million we announced. This is the reason this is so galling, is that we've been looking at our policies and procedures for prepayment customers just in the last few weeks. We had an internal audit team out with our VATO on other visits in the last fortnight. So this is an area we've really been focusing on. But we announced £10 million to help prepayment customers that are most in need, and another £15 million to help small businesses, shops, pubs, restaurants, charities that are really struggling. So we're doing what we can to try and help. Now, that is an order of magnitude bigger than any other energy package that any other company has announced. So we're trying to do as much as possible. We've got to balance this need to run our business profitably, because a business that's not profitable has no future. More than half the UK energy retail suppliers have gone out of business in the last 18 months because they didn't make a profit. A lot of other energy suppliers are still not making a profit. Without a profit, they will fail at some point. Centrica has got a very balanced portfolio, and we've spoken before about how what we've tried to do is to build a portfolio so that it's robust through a whole number of different environments. The reason that I feel very strongly about that is the failure of energy companies so far is costing every electricity customer in the UK £88 just now, with another £200 apparently to come from the failure of bulb. I think that's wrong. The poorest in society are paying that money. We run a company so that if something goes wrong in Centrica, our shareholders bear the cost of that. There's still too many energy companies that may well not have the money to back that up, and therefore the risk of something happening falls to the energy consumer. So I think we've got to have a proper conversation about what is an appropriate level of profitability for energy companies, to make sure that if other companies fail, the hard press, like the customers that you saw in the Times report, they're paying each £88 to pay for the failure of other energy companies. I don't ever want to have another company in that situation, which is why I try to run Centrica so that it's balanced and it can sustainably make a profit, so that it can continue to invest in customers, it can continue to make a return for shareholders, and never trouble energy consumers in terms of failure costs.